Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we are going to be taking a look at the secondary weapon, the Cyanex. So in this weapon series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test it on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors that would increase weapon performance. That would be things like Warframes using abilities, pets putting statuses on enemies, things like that. I just test the weapon, built out by itself, and I let the viewer make their own intelligent conclusions about what would happen if you add those external things. So let us get into the Cyanex here. So the Cyanex is a little sentient pistol that you can buy right from the dojo. So very easy to get. You get it from the Corpus Lab in the dojo. And it's actually a very strong weapon. So this is kind of like one of the sleeper weapons, I feel like, that you can get very easy. Pretty early on, I think. I can't remember exactly what the mastery is, but I don't think it's super high. And it's really strong. So let's get into it here. So the Cyanex. Interesting things about the Cyanex is quite a bit, so bear with me here. So the Cyanex has two different firing modes. It has its left click and its alternate click. So the left click is a machine pistol. It's going to shoot these projectiles out that are going to home in on enemies within 15 meters of the reticle. When they hit an enemy, they are going to bounce one additional time to it. Well, I should say when they hit anything, they will bounce one more time. So if they hit an enemy, they can hit another enemy. Or if they hit a floor, then they could bounce and hit an enemy. So they're going to bounce one time and possibly hit two things at once if you hit an enemy on the first hit. If that makes sense. I think I said that right. They are going to produce a small 0.7 meter radial explosion when they hit as well. Not very big, but you know, if enemies are super clumped up, there's a lot of potential to hit multiple enemies there. And that firing mode is also going to have innate gas on that radial attack. Okay? And the other interesting thing, this is not just for the primary, this is also for the alternate fire. The critical chance and critical multiplier on this weapon is dog shit. So you do not build this for crit in any way. And that, again, that's not just the primary fire, that's also the alternate fire. And the other thing that is the same between both the primary and the alternate fire is that galvanized shot right here is multiplicative on the Cyanex. So this works a lot stronger on this weapon than it does on most weapons where it's only additive. So it is multiplicative on the Cyanex. Okay, so that's the primary fire mode. Alternate fire mode. Okay, so the alternate fire mode, when you middle click, you are going to expend the entire magazine. It's just going to shoot them all in one burst. You no longer have a homing effect, so they just go exactly, wherever you're aiming. You get 0.5 meters of punch through and infinite body punch through. So it will punch through infinite enemies, and you get 0.5 meters of regular punch through, which means that regular punch through is it works on doors, soft cover, things like that. But for enemies, it's going to go infinitely through them. And the alternate fire also has high slash and puncture values. So high natural slash and high natural puncture, where the primary fire doesn't even have slash or puncture. The primary fire only had impact. So the alternate fire has slash, puncture, and impact, although impact is quite low on the alternate. So they're very different. There's a lot of things about both modes. And so I actually built a build for both modes. I built a build that worked on the primary. I built a build that worked on the alternate fire. I tested against each other. The alternate fire completely pooped all over the primary fire. But during testing, in actual gameplay, I found that there's still reason to use the primary fire. And in fact, the primary fire is still very powerful. Even if you build for the alternate fire, the primary fire is still very powerful. And so you actually want to use both of these modes. And it's because both modes have the potential to hit multiple targets. The primary fire bounces, so it can hit 2 targets for every single shot. And the alternate fire has punch through. So if enemies are lined up, you can hit possibly even more than 2 on each shot because it'll go through as many as it can. So the way you play the Cyanex is actually using both of those firing modes. If what's in front of you is just a jumble of enemies that aren't really lined up, you primary fire. And if what's in front of you is a group of enemies that are lined up, like maybe in a hallway, you alternate fire. Simple as that. Both modes are amazing for their specific things that they do. You want to alternate fire when you have a heavy enemy in front of you, because the alternate fire will do a little bit more damage because it has natural slash. So you're putting slash procs on those big heavy enemies. So if there's an Eximus in front of your face, you want to alternate fire and like do that mag expenditure right into his face. But on trash enemies, you primary fire if they're just kind of jumbled, and you alternate fire if they're lined up. So, okay. I think that is pretty much it for all the weird things about the Cyanex. There's a lot of weird things about the Cyanex. So let's get into the build here. Galvanized Diffusion is going to be for multi-shot. Galvanized Shot is going to increase our status chance and give us direct damage per status type affecting the target. That's perfect. The only thing this wouldn't affect is the radial damage, but the radial damage is actually quite small. The radial damage is just basically look at it as like a little extra. You know, it's only a 0.7 meter radial range, so it's a small range, and it actually does less damage than the actual direct attack of the weapon. So just look at the radial as extra damage. So even though Galvanized Shot doesn't affect the radial, it's okay. Most of your damage is coming from your direct hits. Hornet Strike for flat damage, 220. Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot. Primed Quick Draw for reload speed. So this weapon you're going to reload a lot, especially when you're alternate firing. Because when you're alternate firing, you're just blowing through the entire magazine and then having to reload. Blowing through the magazine, having to reload. And the reload it's not horrible, but because you have to reload so much, it kind of is horrible. And so Primed Quick Draw is so good on this weapon. Okay, and then in the next 3 slots, we're going to be producing our elements. So we're going to go for Frostbite and Pistol Pestilence for Toxin. So 60-60 Frostbite, 60-60 Pistol Pestilence to make Toxin. Or not Toxin, sorry, Viral. Viral. We're making Viral here. And then Primed Heat of Charge is going to make our Heat. And we're going to use the Primed version because it increases our Heat weighting a bit higher. So if we go down here, our Heat weighting is super high, which is awesome. Our Viral weighting is lower than the Heat, which is great. And our Slash weighting is lower than both of those, which is okay. I mean, I would like a higher Slash, but I'm not willing to take off Prime Quick Draw to put a Slash mod there. Prime Quick Draw is very good on this weapon. I don't think it's worth replacing this for a Slash mod. So, yeah, this is how you would build it here. Now, in the Eximus slot, there is a few options you could do. So there's Lethal Momentum. You don't technically need Lethal Momentum for the alternate fire. The alternate fire that expends the magazine actually goes quite quick. The projectiles are pretty quick in how they travel. The primary fire, where it's homing in on enemies, the projectiles don't move super quick. Like, they're kind of slow, but the slowness also helps the homing. Like, if they move too quickly, they could miss. I mean, it makes Lethal Momentum an option, but Lethal Momentum might also make it worse. I think the better options for the Eximus are going to be the ammo, the options that help you with ammo. So the magazine is 11. The ammo pickup every time you pick up a pack of ammo is 20. That sounds pretty good. You know, you're picking up almost 2 magazines worth of ammo every time you do a pickup. But you blow through these magazines so quickly. You blow through them very, very quickly. And so you could do one of 2 things with the Eximus. You can increase the ammo pickup even further with Prime Pistol Ammo Mutation. Or you could just give yourself a bigger ammo pool with Trick Mag. If you wanted to be cheap and not, like, you know, go for the big primed ammo mutation, just use Trick Mag. Trick Mag is probably just as good as Prime Pistol Ammo Mutation. The pool of ammo that it comes with is, I think, like 200. Might be less than 200. It's like 200 or less, I believe, the pool of ammo. So, like, it is worth increasing the pool. So that's why Trick Mag is quite good. And then pickup is also good. Pick whatever you want. If you want to test around with both of them too, you can. Okay. Eximus mod, we're going to go for Cascadia Flare, because we can. Cascadia Flare, so the mods that usually compete for the Arcane slot for secondaries, there's 3 of them. There's Cascadia Flare, there's Secondary Deadhead, and there's Secondary Merciless. Secondary Deadhead and Secondary Merciless are 360% flat damage increase, And flare is 480. So flare is usually straight up better. You do get like a little bit of extras with the secondary merciless and secondary deadhead. Like you get less recoil or faster reload speed. But it's usually not really, I'd rather another 120% flat damage than just those little extras, unless the weapon really, really needs it. So in this case, because we have heat on the weapon, we can get away with using Cascadia Flare. So we're able to use the bigger flat damage arcane. So that's where what we're going to be using for the arcane there. Which means that your Riven slot for this weapon is most likely going to be Hornet Strike. Because you have flat damage, you have a large group of flat damage right here with 480. Galvanized Shot is kind of flat damage, although it works multiplicatively on this weapon, so it's kind of flat damage, kind of not. But you have enough flat damage. So if you have a Riven, you plop it right over Hornet Strike, and you're good to go. Unless your Riven, unless the stats on it really make sense to cover another one, like maybe you get a Riven that has Fire Rate, then you would put it over Lethal Torrent. But otherwise, Hornet Strike all day, put it on top of. Okay, that is how you build out the Cyanex, and now what we're going to do is I'm going to show this in gameplay, and I'm going to do this on a Big Dumb Inaros with no Archon Shards that increase weapon performance, no mods or arcanes on the Inaros that increase weapon performance, and with a pet with no Sentinel weapon and no mods on the little pet that increase weapon performance. Let's get in this. We're going to do a 10-minute Kuva Survival on Steel Path, of course. Sure, we're solo. Steel Path, tab uni. Okay. So again, we're going to be switching up our firing modes depending on what's in front of us. So both firing modes are really strong. It's just that one is going to be better for heavy targets, like the alternate fire, because it just you quickly expend the magazine. So you can really be pumping rounds into heavy enemies, and it produces slash procs. So once in a while, you're going to see me press my 3 button, which is going to give me armor and status immunity. And that's the only thing that's going to do. Now, in Kuva Survival, I'm probably going to alternate fire a lot because this has very narrow hallways, so it makes punch-through weapons really good. But when we do the next test on Lua Conjunction, it'll probably be opposite. I'll probably be doing a lot of primary firing because, the hallways are wider, there's more open spaces. So I'm going to primary fire here just to show you guys what it looks like. See how it's a little bit slower than the alternate fire, but it bounces around. And it produces those gas clouds, too. So it's still extremely powerful. So when you have a jumble of enemies, you want to primary fire. And when enemies are lined up, like maybe here, we alternate fire and we just kill a whole line of them. And then when they're not really lined up anymore because we've killed most of them, then we can go back to primary fire. This is not going to be a crit weapon, so most of your attacks you're going to see are white non-crits. So I also tried to build this with hemorrhage. So when I did my testing up against the primary versus the alternate fire, I put hemorrhage on the primary build because the primary has high impact status. So it would make sense to use hemorrhage to maybe force some slash procs. It was just not. It just couldn't beat the alternate fire build. And I think at the end of the day, the primary fire is actually just better being built like the alternate fire with the heat instead of hemorrhage anyway. We go get Eximus, so we're gonna alternate fire right into him. Bam, he's gone. Got another Eximus, alternate fire, he's dead. Got a line, so we're gonna alternate fire. And then once the line is mostly killed, we can go back to primary fire. And you don't have to aim super carefully either because the primary fire is going to home in. It's only within 15 meters of your, or 15 degrees of your reticle, so you can't be shooting here and it's going to hit enemies down the hallway. You do have to kind of be aiming at enemies, but you don't have to aim super carefully. Like right here is perfect for the alternate fire. Bam. Kill him right in a line. I'm going to try to line these guys up. Bam. And I should be good to start primary firing again. And that's all we're doing there. It's a really fun weapon, and both modes are really good. Most of the time when weapons have two modes, you kind of have to pick one or the other, because sometimes they don't really play well with each other. But not this weapon. This weapon actually, they work very well together. Oops. Some armor and status need to be back on. So we'll stay like in this hallway for about 5 minutes, and then we'll move to where the life support is. That way we can have some change of scenery and maybe not just fight in hallways. Because hallways are going to make the alternate fire look like the only one to shoot. But it's not. It's not. Again, when we get to Lua, Lua's a little bit more spaced out. So, like, you're not... The alternate fire is not going to look like it's the only one that you really want to ever shoot. For the Acolyte, because it's one big heavy enemy, you probably do want to alternate fire. Of course, it's Mania who has Zephyr Shield. I'm like, oh, I want to show off this weapon. Oh, no, it's Mania. He has Zephyr Shield. It's not going to work. And he's going to CC me over and over. Get out of here, Mania. All right, I think Zephyr Shield is down finally. All right, I think he put Zephyr Shield back up. Consider primary firing a little bit in between fighting the Acolyte, because again, this weapon is multiplicative, and you get that gas proc with the primary. So you could add like one more status. I'm gonna like be permanently CC'd for Mania here. Leave me alone. Oh, he's got Zephyr. I might have to melee this guy if he keeps doing this. There we go. Okay, his thing is down finally. If he puts it back up, I think he put it back up again. No, he didn't. He didn't yet. There he did. Okay, I'm going to melee him from here. Oh, I forgot to put my Nakana on. Oh, my goodness. Looks like I'm not meleeing today, guys. The only reason I put the Nakana on is for when I get Mania. And I didn't do it. All right, he's dead. It's not bad against the Acolyte. It looked horrible against the Acolyte there, but that was because it was Mania. Mania, you like literally can't hit with your ranged weapons unless they have a huge AoE radius. So when we did the Spore Lacer, we could just shoot at the floor near Mania and it hit him. But this weapon has a small AoE radius. So it's not really going to go through Zephyr Shields. So that Mania fight might have also messed our kill count up at the end too. But that's okay. Yeah, we're getting close to 1,000 subs, guys. I think last I checked, we were at 993 subs, which is amazing. I have a lot of stuff planned for the channel for the future. I have audio equipment coming in, so I should be able to sound a bit better. So I don't like have all my weird mouth noises that I currently have sometimes. I know for some people it's and I understand. I mean, when I hear people's YouTube channel and they have like weird mouth noises, it's a little bit cringy, so hopefully I can fix that for the channel. Got some audio equipment coming in. I'm going to be more active on Twitch. So admittedly, I actually stopped doing Twitch because I got a message from Twitch that said they're discontinuing Twitch Studio support like at the end of last month, and I was like, oh, I guess Twitch is dying or something. You know, I'm not like super smart or into it about like what's going on with Twitch. So I just assumed like, oh, maybe Twitch is dead. But it's past whenever they said they were discontinuing support, and it's still there. So I guess I was wrong. I guess I can do Twitch. So I'll be restarting the Twitch up again. I'm going to try to stick to a schedule, which I really wasn't doing before. I'm more of a morning player. That's the only thing. So, like, I know for Twitch, a lot of, especially Americans, they want to watch it, like, in the evening. So, I don't know. I could possibly stream in, like, the early afternoon, maybe. I would like to do it more in the morning, but I could probably push it out to, like, early afternoon. Also, if there's any other social media platforms that you're interested in, let me know. Like, I don't know what the normal is. I don't know if people go on like Instagram or like Facebook or like other social media platforms when they do these things. I'm very like naive to the whole streaming and videos. So if you guys have any input, please let me know. We're almost done here. Mania probably screwed up our kill count by about like 100 kills because we spent a long time just fighting him and getting CC'd by him, which kind of sucked. So this might not be as accurate as it probably could have been for the Cyanex, the kill count at the end. Getting another Acolyte. Watch, it's going to be Mania again, back to back. I don't even think that can happen. But watch, I'm going to get it anyway. Oh, I got Malice, the second worst or the worst Acolyte, actually. All right, so I have the mag bubble on me from Malice, so I'm going to have to roll. And I drop it, and now it should be safe to fight him. I'm going to primary fire a few times so I can get some gas procs on him. So as you can see, it's not horrible against the Acolyte. You can't really compare ranged weapons to melee weapons. Melee weapons are always going to be better against Acolytes. Okay, 514 kills. That's well above average. So when I do these tests, weapons that are 350 to 450, I would consider average weapons. So this definitely got well over that 450 mark. And like I said, I think it probably could have got more, but we kind of had that Mania fiasco. So if you don't know, on Kuva Fortress, you can press this little button and it lowers the elevator and you can go up that way. All right, we'll head to Extraction here, and then we're going to queue up that Lua Conjunction for the last test. I like doing the Kuva Survival first because it shows what a weapon that is not fully built for armor stripping against Grineer, which are the heaviest armor weapons, or armored enemies, can still do. Because a lot of people are like, you need to armor strip and Steel Path, and it's not true. You don't really need to armor strip and Steel Path. You can go like up to level 4,000 enemies without armor stripping. You could probably go past that with certain weapons. So I like to do the test on Kuva Survival first. And then I do the Lua Conjunction. But I feel like Lua Conjunction gives you a better look on what normal gameplay is going to look like. Just because Kuva Survival has so many narrow hallways that punch-through weapons sometimes look a little bit more overpowered than they actually are. Okay, so Lua Circulus is going to be a little bit higher level enemies, 180 to 200. Mixed enemies, so not just all Grineer. And it's going to force me to fight Thraxes, which are like super Exodus's. And it starts you with 2 Drakmasters, which are like little mini bosses, because you don't have any conditionals up. Although with Cascadia Flare, your conditional gets increased without even having to kill an enemy. So Cascadia Flare kind of doesn't have to build up, which that's another reason I really like Cascadia Flare. All right. So I'm going to press my 3 to give myself armor and status immunity, and that's the last ability I'm going to press. Well, I'll probably press it once in a while during the thing there when it goes down. So if I can get a good Congo line of enemies, I will alternate fire. But I think for Lua Conjunction, the primary fire is going to carry me a lot of the way. Just because they're not going to be as lined up. I'm looking for a line of like 3 or more enemies to alternate fire. Like maybe here. There's another thing I've been thinking of doing, and I'm not really too sure. Maybe if I can get some feedback on what you guys think. I've been thinking of possibly changing the channel name instead of Salt Prime to Salt Warrior. So Salt Warrior is the name that I actually started gaming with, and I had it for a very long time. I chose Salt Prime just because I, started doing the YouTube channel by doing Warframe content. And I still plan to have it be a primarily Warframe... Oh my goodness, what am I stuck on here? Primarily Warframe channel. But that's not saying I don't want to play other games on it too. Like, I do want to play other games on it. I love pretty much like every co-op game. I love co-op games so much. But, I mean, Salt Prime is still a really good name, I think, for the channel. I just kind of was wondering if maybe Salt Warrior would be kind of cool too. Since it's kind of like what I started gaming with. I started gaming about 15 years ago with World of Warcraft. And after that, a few years later, I got into a game called World of Tanks. And I played that like kind of semi-pro-ish, like not full-blown professional, where I was like sent out to the big like World of Tanks tournaments. But there were people in my clan, like you'd only have a clan of 100 people, and there were people in my clan that would get sent out to those tournaments. We were the, at the very end, I was on the second team in the world, the second top team in the world, Havoc at the time. But I had like kind of jumped around and like kept going up in the clan tiers during my time in World of Tanks. And then I got accepted into Havoc. And then like a week later, I decided to stop playing because it was becoming like a full-time job for me. Because even though I wasn't like one of the people getting sent to those tournaments, we still had to do clan wars. Like, I'm trying to remember if it was every night. I think it was every night, or like close to every night. And I was the battle caller for clan wars, so I had to do like not only did I have to show up for clan wars, but I had to do like 4 hours of practice before the clan war took place. I had to run like the practice for the people, which really sucked. Well, I mean, it didn't. I had fun with it, but it did just become a chore at the end. I mostly, in World of Tanks, I mostly played, there was a clan that I was in probably most of the time, Sturm Grenadier. But I think they were like number 80 in the world. They were like very low on the chart. Then I moved up to Wallet Warriors, which were like top 15-ish. And then there was a few clans in between. And then finally Havoc was the last one. But again, I got accepted into Havoc and ended up quitting the game. Like a week later. And I don't know what's going on in World of Tanks right now. I don't know if, like, who's atop, if Simp or Havoc are even still in the game anymore. Or Wallet Warriors or Sturm Grenadier. I'm not really sure. That was like my origin story with gaming. Thraxis here. pretty good. That was only 2, 3. Okay. So three bursts of the alternate fire. I probably could have killed him in 2 bursts, but I would have had to like wait for the slash to kill him. Alrighty. With Angst. Angst is not too bad. So I kind of like casual games nowadays. I've done like the whole sweaty thing too, where I got into like Apex and Call of Duty Warzone and all that stuff. But I'm a little bit too old now to have good reflexes. I know there are older people that like do competitive stuff. I don't find myself being as good on reflexes as I used to be. Oh my goodness. It's down below. Oh, gotta go 200 meters away. And I'm making all the wrong decisions on my movement. All right, there we go. Ooh, I didn't think I was going to get there. I'm a bad multitasker. When I'm running my mouth, I don't pay attention to life support. That's what I'm blaming it on. That's what I'm blaming it on. And of course, Lua enemies, I'm going to have to go all the way back here to start fighting them because they're not going to spawn in the room there. That's the only reason I hate Lua. Angst is like living his best life somewhere on the map. Oh, I think he just teleported to me. I really like the Cyanex. Something else about the Cyanex, and maybe if there is a mag main or someone that uses Zada's Whisper a lot from Zaku as like a subsume, I have heard that the Cyanex is very good for either Mag's Bubble or for Zada's Whisper. And if that's true, let me know. I don't really know exactly why. I'm going to assume it's the infinite body punch through. A lot of weapons with infinite body punch through is like why Mag's, like they interact with Mag's Bubble well, but maybe there's another reason. Maybe it's like the gas on the primary hit. But yeah, that's something I've heard about this weapon. I'm not a mag player. I don't have a built out mag, so I can't confirm that for sure. Salt, you forgot the freaking life support again. And I forgot to put the Nakana on again. That's another thing too. Oh my goodness. I'm like trying to slam to these things here and it's not, my button's not working. And it's because I don't have my friggin' Nakana on. I'm all kinds of jacked up today. Ugh. Oh yeah, my Warframe history. I started playing Warframe probably a couple of years after it came out. Like not when it first came out, but pretty soon after. And I didn't like it. And it's because I had a buddy that got me into it. And all he wanted to do was Hydron over and over and over again. And I was like, this game sucks. This game is just Hydron. And he was a Saren main, so he was like a max level Saren main nuking the map, and I was like sitting in the middle of Hydron just watching him nuke the map for like 2 months straight. I did that, and then I gave up Warframe. I was like, it's boring. This is some crap. And then like probably 4 years ago, I came back and I gave it like another chance. I was like, oh, it seems pretty cool. Like it doesn't seem like it's just Hydron. And yeah, ever since then, ever since like 4 years ago, I've been loving it. It's been my main game. So that's 10 minutes there. We got both Thraxes down, and we're at 406 kills. You do expect to get about 100 less kills in Lua Conjunction, so that's about right. So this weapon is pretty damn good. It's definitely an above-average weapon. I feel like we probably could have did a little bit better in the first Kuva. Oh my goodness, it fell there. In the first Kuva Survival, if Mania didn't rope-a-dope us, and if we remembered to put our Nakana on. But otherwise, I mean, it's pretty damn good. It's an above-average Steel Path weapon that you can get right from the dojo. So for like a newer player or like a mid-game player that is maybe just getting into Steel Path, this is a very easy, accessible weapon that will carry you. And you don't even have to aim. I mean, if you're going to use the alternate mode, it doesn't have the homing effect. You have to actually aim with the alternate mode. But if you really wanted to be lazy, you can just primary fire this thing all day and still be fine. So that is the Cyanex. It's a cool little pistol. I actually like how it looks too. It's one of those sentient guns. It's like a sentient corpus amalgam kind of gun. So if you like the video, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider subbing. Or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye.